Most of us have heard the term start as you wish to continue. Having a positive outlook on Monday can help you chart your course for the remainder of the week.
Chocolate cake doesn't hurt either. All right, Choose Hope is today's Motivational Monday topic. We're joined by award-winning author Stacey Hawkins Adams, who shares her insights. Always good to have you here. Positivity obviously is an attitude that you have to kind of equip yourself with and go with, and we're going to have a young lady on in a few minutes, a Miss Virginia, having emceed several beauty pageants in the past. That is always a theme, and so if we choose hope, then we have to live hope and follow through on it, don't we?
Absolutely, absolutely, Bill. And so, you know, we are in unsettling times in our nation. You just watch the news headlines, you talk to your neighbor, you go into the grocery store, things feel unbalanced and unsettled. So the challenge today and this week is to lean into intentionally choosing hope. And what does that look like? That means thinking about things you can read. There's a New York Times best-selling book out called Let Them by a woman named Mel Robbins. And so her Let Them theory is everything could be in chaos around you, but the choices that other people are making that may be negative, that may upset you, that you may not like, let them make those choices and you choose how you want to navigate the world.
How did Choose Hope kind of become, should we label it on January? It kind of, if you can fill it in for the rest of the year, how did that become inspiring for the start of the year?
You know, I think it is something that you do start the year with, but it's something you actually have to do every day, every morning when we wake up. You know, you've heard the cliche, you can choose to see the world or the glass half full or half empty. And so it's really an active choice to move through the world. If something negative is happening, it doesn't mean that you ignore it. It doesn't mean that you sort of act like Pollyanna and pretend like things are okay when they're not. But choosing to actively be hopeful about it, positive about it, is saying, okay, what can I learn from this situation? How can I grow from this situation? In situations where there's an unknown, there's a lot of unknowns ahead of us right now. And so if you don't know what's coming, maybe go ahead and think about what's the worst case scenario. If the worst were to happen, how am I going to navigate it? If the best is happening, how can I be prepared for it? And so that's choosing hope in whatever the circumstance is.
You said something a second ago about other people are doing things that you may not agree with and don't like and are very upset by, but you have no control over them. I have a good friend, Steve, Mr. Beach Leonard, who was always a pretty happy guy. And I asked him once, dude, how are you doing this? And he said, people do what they want and I let them.
There you go.
And he chose to go the other direction, and I learned a lot from that. The other part is that since we have no control, it's kind of wasted energy.
It absolutely is. And so think about the energy, think about when you go down a negative path, everything else kind of is affected by that. Your health is affected, your stress levels, the people around you are affected by the negative energy. So what if you kind of like take a deep breath? I always talk about taking a deep breath.
It's easy to go down the negative path.
It's easier it's much easier to go down a negative path than to be strong enough to have the strength to restrain yourself, to operate with grace, to realize that everybody's choices will impact them as well as maybe you're impacted by it, but everybody's going to have a consequence for their choices. So you really want to think about maybe even your tomorrows. Like when I look at my tomorrows, what do I want those memories to be from how I acted today? So you're making future memories and how you act as well. So you want to think about those outcomes as well.
So can it be hard to choose hope?
Oh, absolutely. I think so. I think some days you have great days. Yesterday, folks were watching their football teams. We were just talking about the Chiefs and the Eagles. I could go either way. I have friends on both sides. So in choosing, like your team didn't win, how are you going to handle that if you're the team that didn't win? Something that you had anticipated happening and it's not falling into place. If you go in the negative path, is that going to make things better? Or if you take a breath and say, all right, I'm going to be hopeful, I'm going to be positive. What can I do instead? What can I do in the meantime? There's something hopeful, and there's always a better outcome when you choose the better way.
I think one of the, again, you can learn from just things all around you. One of the things we learned from the Washington Commanders and their rookie quarterback, the kid seemed never to get down. He was always positive. And you know, there's lessons in all of this, and you can choose that. I remember watching the funeral for President Carter. What an amazing positive life he chose.
Yes.
And you know, you can decide it doesn't seem like it at times that you don't have control over that, but you do. You can decide which way you want to go.
Right, and the thing is, we're not perfect, we're human, so we're not going to always get it right. But when my son played football and he'd be out on the field and he wouldn't quite get the play right, his coach would pull him to the side and say, all right, that's done, forget about it, next play.
Right.
And that's what we have to say to ourselves too. We're not going to always get it right, but we can always try over and over again to choose hope.
I love that. Thank you so much for being with us today. That was great inspiration. I feel like a lot of people out there will be choosing hope.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Always good having Stacy. And Stacy always gets us looking forward to the next time. Stacy offers weekly motivational Monday emails. If you are interested in subscribing, you can visit StacyHawkinsAdams.com.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.